Hello, everyone. I hope you are well. My name is Randy, and in this video, I will be covering one of the types of question in the listening comprehension section of the TOEFL test. But before that, I wanted to start with something that's already obvious, but sometimes get overlooked. It's the difference between spoken language and written language, between written English and spoken English, and by extension, between reading and listening skills. And why does it matter for our purpose here? So it is obvious that we rely on our auditory perception and listening. We perceive language, words, phrases, sentences as sounds. On the other hand, to put it in a simple way, written language is the representation of spoken language in symbols like the alphabets. Writing greatly helps us remember, think, learn, and understand better in a way that spoken language cannot do. We have relied so much on writing. Actually, we have internalized writing to the point that we cannot function effectively without it. We cannot remember things very well merely by relying on our sense of hearing. And the fact is, listening effectively is something that very few of us can do, especially when you have limited time to listen, like in the TOEFL test. But the good news is, effective listening can be learned. Effective listening involves giving your full attention and linking together pieces of information that you hear, but you don't have to remember everything, which is why it is important for you to be familiar with the types of question in the test. Now let's take a look at one of the types of listening question for today's video. It's listening for who and what in passive. You might already be familiar with active and passive voice in the English language, but when it comes to listening, it might become a bit tricky to recognize passive construction in a conversation. Or to put it simply, to tell apart the thing doing the action from the thing receiving the action. Now, listen to the following conversation between a mother and her son about her trip to China, and let's see how many passive sentences you can find.
Hello? Hi? Can you hear me? I'm outside the hotel. My room is being cleaned. It's a bit noisy.
Yeah, I can hear you, Mum. How's China?
Amazing. I'm in Zhangjiajie.
Where?
Zhangjiajie National Park. It's been used in a lot of films. I was told the scenery in Avatar was based on the landscape here.
Really? Wow. Has it got mountains a bit like fingers?
Yeah, that's the place.
So, how do you get up the mountains? Can you?
One mountain has an enormous lift. The biggest outdoor elevator in the world, so I've been informed. It takes you right to the top. It was fantastic.
What else have you seen?
Well, I met some local girls wearing regional costume. They were absolutely gorgeous. They're decorated with bands of flowers, and there's a lot of red.
Ah, nice. But don't even think about it as a Christmas present.
Okay, got the message.
Good. What are you up to tomorrow?
Well, we're going to Baofeng Lake. I think loads of films have been made there too. It's going to be fascinating.
Cool. What about the language? Have you learnt any Mandarin?
Not much, to be honest. My guide translates for us. She's the best. Anyway, I'll call tomorrow and I'm back on Saturday. I hope to find everything clean and tidy. You've been warned.
Yeah, Mum. Have a great day tomorrow. Look forward to seeing the photos. Bye.
Love you.
Now let's take a look at the left side of this table. Did you manage to find any of these phrases and sentences in the conversation? You can go back to the conversation if you want to check your answer. Let's take a look at this first passive sentence from the conversation that says, my room is being cleaned. This is passive voice. My room, being the subject of the sentence, is the recipient of the action verb cleaning. It doesn't really matter who's cleaning the room because it's not the focus of the speaker, or since he's in a hotel, it's already obvious who's cleaning the room. The passive voice is always constructed with a conjugated form of to be plus the verb's past participle, in this case, cleaned. Now, on the right side of it, you can see the same idea expressed in active voice, a slightly different way of expressing the same idea. Only that the word someone here functions as the subject of the sentence, thus being the doer of the action verb cleaning, that the one that performs the action. And my room functions as the object, the recipient of the action verb. Is the equivalent of imbuhan me and di in Bahasa Indonesia, as in membersihkan and dibersihkan. The same way it goes with the rest of the sentence in this table. Now let's see the way these two different constructions usually come into play in the listening section of the TOEFL test. Now, here are some examples. In the recording, you will hear something like this. Remember that the second line of the conversation is where usually the information you need to choose the right answer can be found. And the first line functions more as an introduction to the topic of the conversation. From there, you know that the topic is about Alice having to pay her tuition. The second line reveals more information to us, that her tuition has already been paid. Pay attention that it doesn't tell us who paid the tuition. This information is expressed in passive voice, her tuition being the subject and the recipient of the verbs of the action verb had been paid. And every time you find a passive construction like this in a listening question, the answer to the question is often a restatement of the same information or idea, but in active voice, which is why the right answer to this question is option C. Alice has already paid her fees. Fee, which is synonymous with tuition. And it's the other way around with the second example here. The second line of the conversation is in active form. I watered it only this morning, which is the response to the first speaker's questions. Have you been taking good care of the lawn? You want to look for the answer with a restatement of the same information, but in passive form. And that only leads us to option C. The lawn has already been watered today. So, should you only focus on this second line? Yes, but no. Focusing on the second line doesn't mean that you can let yourself get distracted while listening. Remember that you only have one attempt to listen to this recording, and so you want to use your time wisely. Always pay full attention while listening and try not to get distracted by your surrounding or your own inner thoughts. And reading the answer prior to listening might help you guess what question type being asked. Link pieces of information together in your mind as you listen and get familiar with the question types. And after this, you should work on the exercise available in the Live Unpad website. See you in the next video. Stay safe and stay healthy. Goodbye.